And Drama had a podcast.
Shout out to Dave.
Yes.
I miss Dave.
Me too.
I just talked to a friend today, Jody. Shout out to Deluxe Tan. She is the best. Talk about the best business owner. And she's like, I just love your guys' show. I do miss Dave and Patricia. And she is the sweetest lady.
Deluxe Tan.
Yep. Deluxe Tan over by Walmart. They are really, the service there is extraordinary. The beds are awesome. And I'm just doing a free commercial because some of you who know, when you get into the middle of winter and we're not seeing the sun, sometimes you just need that vitamin D kick and it kind of makes your whole day. So shout out to Jody at Deluxe and all her team over there because they're just amazing. But she says she loves Dave and misses him and Patricia. And so.
Did Dave go in and tan a lot?
I don't know. I don't know how she knew them. She knows everyone, by the way, in Grantsville, like everyone.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And she's a small business owner, but she knows everyone, and she's the most kind, wonderful woman. So kind. So if you're watching, Jody, thank you.
Yep. All right. Let's throw up this.
Live from Utah's Wasatch Front, the pulse of the Mountain West, where the issues that shape your life meet the truth that sets you free. Across Utah, across the Republic, and around the world, welcome. This is KMMU.
Thank you, KMMU. Yeah, there's a lot going on in the news lately, and feels like super important things get washed out by other things that some people may feel are super important also. But
that's why people chiming in and commenting. If there's something we're missing, by all means, put it in the chat. We'll talk about it. We're happy to talk about it. We'll do a whole show about it if you want. What we want to do is bring you news that's going on right now. And with the attention span of America and all that this president is currently doing, all the things that are happening day after day after day. We do a podcast and the next day, new.
Well, you can't even plan. You just can't. You just can't. So we may have a guest later on to come on and talk about it. So we're going to hold off on the initial part of the intro, the ice part. But so I kind of want to talk about Iran.
Go on.
So, all right. Oh, late December, all of Iran started protesting. All of it. Like all of its cities and towns and counties and everything started protesting. What's irking them is their cost of living and inflation, and they just don't have any economic momentum, and
they're poor. Their country is
when you
poor and hungry and being worn to just run down.
Yeah, they're
not safe,
subdued, and so they took to the streets. Iran did what totalitarian governments do, and they sicked their military on them. They've got the Islamic Revolutionary Guard and the Basij militia, which is, I guess, like their National Guard, and sicked them on them and started shooting them. So Iran acknowledges over 3,000 deaths since December. That's a higher kill rate than everyone over here on the left. You guys hold your panties for a second, but that's a higher kill rate than Israel got against Palestine in like 4 months. So
Well, are you going to talk about what they said, who they said is doing the killing? Because one of the Iranian officials said it's the Mossad is in there.
Yeah, he's saying
a false
Israel.
flag.
Yeah, he's saying Israel did it. They've shut down the internet over there. They've snatched people up off the streets. They've done a lot of stuff. A lot of people have gone missing.
Snipers in place above protests.
Well, those are the Israelis.
And they're getting shot in the head, these protesters. They're being drug out of their homes. They're being
It's crazy.
Mulled over. They've been open fire with high-powered rifles and machine guns into crowds. And now they're saying the Mossad did it. Now, Donald Trump is voicing his support and his concern for these protesters, saying, hey, if anything happens to them, we're going to get involved. I think that's brave for a president to say.
Yeah, I don't know.
But our last presidents, when this was happening, Obama stayed out of it. These people are trying to overthrow their government. And we don't want to get in other wars.
I just wonder, what would our support look like over there?
I don't know. After what they did in Venezuela, I think Delta could probably go in 20 guys.
Still, I've got thoughts on that. I happen to believe, okay, I want to put on my, I wish I had my tinfoil hat by me. I think Maduro was in on him being captured. Because a few months back, this is all hearsay, but a few months back, I heard that we floated to Maduro to turn yourself in and we'll go easy on you. And he said, well, if I turn myself in, I'll have to turn myself in with all of these 100 other generals. And we said, no, that's off the table. So what if, conspiracy hat time, what if Maduro said, okay, we'll just have to set it up that you kidnap me.
Nothing would surprise me.
Because otherwise, he'll have a mark on his head forever. He'll never be released from it. But if he gets kidnapped, maybe does a year in a white-collar prison, you know, drinking champagne and behind bars, and then gets cut loose. The Venezuelans who were loyal to the Communist Party down there don't come after him and put an ice pick in his head in a hotel in Mexico City.
I don't know that man is going to be safe anywhere in the country or the world. There's too many people that will assume he turned state's evidence, regardless if he does or not. It doesn't matter.
You're probably right.
In the hands of the U.S., he's a dead man walking. He can't be released. Are we going to give him witness protection? I mean, he's the president.
Well, I don't know. But I'm thinking because his vice president was left in charge, and she's worse than he is.
That still doesn't make any sense.
And then they bring him out. He doesn't have a scratch on him, but that old lady that might have burned dinner the other night, she's got a black eye.
He's drinking a water and he's saying hello and happy New Year.
And his wife, she got punched a little bit. I don't know if that wasn't, maybe as they put the hood on her, he gave him a wink and he got to hit her. I don't know how that panned out, but I'm thinking that's just my thoughts.
Nothing would surprise me. And the people of Venezuela are overjoyed. I think the people of Venezuela here in this country who sought a safe haven, they probably want to go home. If things could get fixed, they probably want to go back to their families. And I don't think the government there has much time left. If the people of Venezuela do what the people, which look like they were doing, the people of Iran are also trying to do.
Yeah. But anyways, back to the original story. I don't know what our intervention there would look like. I don't know. If we did try to go down there and if we did try to go to Iran and help out, I mean, are we committed then? Or can we just fly in the middle of the night, snatch up the Ayatollah and haul butt away? One, I don't think Iran has gotten as bad as Venezuelan got.
We all know that Iran is the hub for terrorism. We have to have targets there that are not nuclear sites. I mean,
But like,
I just
what
don't
do you
want to
mean?
be there. I don't want to be anywhere.
That's what I'm saying. I'm with you.
But I want the people of Iran to be free if that's what they want. But then I hear them talking about the previous leader and his son come back and lead. No, that's still the same thing. That's a king. So even the Muslims in Iran are saying, hey, we prefer different than this. Well, what is different than that they really want? I mean, there are young kids going out and protesting in the streets and knowing they're going to have the sights of a gun on them, and they're still going because they think this is so worth it. Their freedom is so worth it, and they're willing to die for it. And it makes me sick. Their government is mowing them down. And who knows, maybe Israel does have a hand in making this worse. I don't know. What I do know is that we are becoming Iran's police, Venezuela's police. And it makes me uncomfortable.
I don't know. But Iran, I mean, 3,000 people, over 3,000 people.
It's more than that.
The state is admitting.
Yeah. We're seeing
if
reports
we just
of
go
6
off
to 10,000.
But if we just go off just the state's numbers, it's
9/11. It's 9/11 in the United States.
That's massive. So I don't know. I hope that the Iranian people get their say in what they want, and maybe they just get some changes. And of course, all of the lefties over here say it's because of the sanctions we've put on them. And sure, I'm sure our sanctions don't make anything any better, but we sanction them for a reason, because we sanction them to punish them, to try to get them to quit being an actor on the world stage that causes such
death and destruction,
strife and terror all the time. That's what, okay, I'm hoping that's what we're doing. Maybe, as everyone says, there's some behind the scenes stuff. And we do know that they are Shia Muslim, and our support has been thrown in with the Sunni Muslims out of Saudi Arabia and the UAE. And hopefully that's not a part of it. And hopefully that can, somehow be reconciled, just so that they can quit being such crappy actors on the world stage. Because I don't care who you are, you have to admit, Iran is kind of a crappy neighbor to have. If you're over there, Iran is feeding everyone who wants to throw hate and discontent at you.
And it's not the Muslims per se, it's the radicals. And that is a very safe harbor for radicals. In fact, they fund radicals in all the other countries where you've got people like Egypt and Saudi Arabia and Israel coming to the same table. And then you've got Iran out back throwing rocks at the meeting saying, hey, Allah Akbar.
Throwing rockets.
Right. And
not the musical dance troupe.
There's no safe place in the world when you have radicals with money and with backing. And that's America is no different.
Well, and another thing that I'm sure hit Iran is Iran was probably getting support black marketly from all of our global unallies, China, Russia, and when we took over Venezuela, we cut off a huge oil field that was supporting that.
Right.
Or I shouldn't say when we took over, when we made a slight adjustments to the volume knob of Venezuela.
I don't understand the adjustment if the woman in charge is no different.
Because the woman in charge is playing she's playing our tune right now. She's doing what we're telling her to do.
I still don't understand why they would hand that country over to her.
I think it was all a part of a plan.
I mean, that's what's making more sense. Your theory makes more sense, because that's what I can't wrap my mind around. If she's going to play ball with the United States, is she going to give the money from oil to the people? Is she going to make it a capitalist country where these people can actually take care of themselves? I mean, is communism going to be gone from Venezuela? And if so, is it our job to make sure it is?
I don't know.
This is, I mean, Cuba, Russia, China. I mean, we stabbed him in the eye with this. I get that. But at the same time, did we kill the lion? And we
I don't
didn't
know.
kill anybody, really. What we did get an opportunity to do, though, according to
Was
the
let him
witness,
punch his wife in the head.
was show the world military
I'm totally
capability,
making that up, guys.
a military capability that maybe the world didn't know the U.S. had. Because the testimony coming out of Venezuela from what they saw when the U.S. went in is unlike anything anyone's ever seen, and it sounds really sci-fi.
Well, LRAPs,
And I'm just
we
glad
have
it's on
seen.
our side, but it also gives me the nerves like, oh, what if Trump wasn't president? What if we had a president use that stuff against its people? And that's terrifying.
Yeah.
And while the tinfoil hat's on, let's just talk about the fires in Malibu or in Maui. Let's talk about the fires in California and how pinpointed that destruction was, and then go, is it possible we have lasers that can take out major targets?
and set them up for
Is it possible we
for
have a
real
solar,
estate advancements of
a
the
solar something that can knock people down and disorient them so badly they bleed from the nose and ears and they don't know if it's chocolate or Tuesday? Like,
if it's chocolate.
that is a terrifying thought. But we've all heard about the test in Cuba with something like that. A sonar boom. They were testing on their people. Remember?
Mm-hmm. Well, they were Cuba. You have
It was
the
a sound wave.
you have the
Their teeth fell out.
you have the Havana effect that came out of Cuba, and it's found out that they were pushing microwaves into our embassy, if I remember correctly.
I mean,
And this was a long.
that
this
was a
is
long time ago.
like the 60s and 70s. No, 80s.
If the United States has honed that technology to use against our enemies, we are a threat on this world that no one can touch. And if that Golden Dome gets made and built, who knows? It's probably already built. And Star Wars that Reagan pushed, it probably got funded and got built.
That leads us into Greenland, I suppose.
It absolutely does. And if we're we know right now that we can make satellites nuclear.
Before we move on to Greenland, I just want to say my heart goes out to the Iranians. They're fighting for what they see as a government. And I know with what we finish up later on the show, that's going to be a little bit confusing to say. And it's always messy and sticky. But I know that Iran, I don't know. I have heard, I've never been to Iran. I've never spoken to I have spoken to a few Iranians.
One of my favorite podcasters is Iranian, and he talks about how
Patrick Bet David.
How amazing the
He's
country
an
used to
Iranian
be.
Christian that escaped after the coup, after the Islamic takeover. But I do want to see. When we lead into talking about ICE in Minneapolis, if Chris joins us, he joins us. If not, we've got thoughts and stuff. But I do want to see the Iranian people get some kind of compromised government that they want. From what I have heard, Iran is less religious on the populace level than we are. There's a backlash to everything you do. It's Thomas Sowell. There are no solutions, only compromises.
Right. Now they still have religious police over there, don't they?
They do, but the religious police sounds like they're policing over what has become a secular populace because they have forced that religion on them.
Right. And they've also still stoned people to death there. And
they do
kill gays.
Crazy stuff. They were planning on hanging 800 people when Trump said, don't do it. And they backed down. They said, okay, we won't do it. This was yesterday, I think it was when it came out. So I don't know. I do want to see them. I would like to see Iran become a working figure on the global stage, a part of the global community. But one thing that's kind of cool, So there's a religion called Zoroastrianism, and that
Gesundheit.
it's one of the original monotheistic religions on earth. Everyone's seen a picture of it. I'll bring it up. Well, anyways, Zoroaster, I don't know how to spell
It's
it.
all right.
Okay. So Zoroastrianism is one of the original religions on earth. It's the ancient religion that Cyrus the Allfather believed and all that stuff. And this is like the little symbol that if you see this, you know that you're seeing Zoroastrianism. But anyways, so the religion, a few years ago, I looked into this. I was real interested in this ancient religion when you hear about it. I looked into it, and there was they knew exactly how many people that believed in this religion was still alive. And it was it was like around 1,000 people on earth, this ancient religion that got almost wiped out when the Muslims took over Iran. And you know who Cyrus is, right? Cyrus the
From
Great.
the Bible.
Yeah. Same dude. He was a real dude. We know who he was. He wrote the Cyrus Cylinder, all this stuff. Anyways, but I heard that Zoroastrianism is on the rise again in Iran, that it's back, that youth, that young men especially are falling into this ancient dead religion.
What are the beliefs of this religion?
You could say all monotheistic religions kind of mirror each other. Okay, you've got Zoroaster is God, and then you've got a Satan entity. I forget his name off the top of my head.
Darth Vader.
Then you've got Ahura Mazda is kind of like Jesus. He's kind of Zoroaster's messenger on earth. So it's
all right. It kind of mirrors.
Yeah, except it's a couple thousand years older than Christianity. It's believed to have been started about the same time as Judaism started. Okay. Is the belief. It's that
Old Testament.
Older than Old Testament. Maybe as old as when they first wrote down the first of the Old Testament. But anyways, Zoroastrianism's on the rise, which to me sounds pretty wild. You know, interesting. I'd like to see how that gets brought out in the future. But anyway, so I would like to see Iran.
Hi, David.
Are we getting messages? And
we just talked about you.
Not getting populated. Of course it's not. And yeah, hopefully they get something figured out. I just don't know what we could do. Hey, good to see you, Jordan.
Hi, Jordan.
Yes, I am back. I'm not on call tonight. I go on call this weekend, though.
Right, David. 90 million people in Iran, and Venezuela has 24 million. And this is something I was going to get on, was Venezuela and Iran are both very resource-rich countries, and yet their people are not. And because there's no free markets there.
And they're shut out from doing a lot of stuff.
And sanctions stop them from being able to sell oil to our allies, perhaps. These people are in a really bad situation, and they've looked to their government or to their leader, to their Shah, whatever, to lead and guide, and then you get tyranny. And then you are a slave in your country. And what's sad is the country has gone to crap, and it's not safe. Families, especially Christian families, are not safe there.
And let's also, let me lay out Venezuelan timeline. So what was it? 97, 98, that Hugo Chavez gets elected. About 2000 is when he really ramps up his expropriation. That goes on for about 7 years. He expropriates everything, so everyone who knows how to run a business leaves. They'll just leave. The big example is there was a toilet paper factory down there. Big toilet paper factory, prosperous, owned by an American. He goes in and expropriates it. So the American says, fine, ups and leaves. Any American personnel that was down there, ups and leaves, and the toilet paper factory within a year is closed down, because what the communists do is they look and they say, well, my brother Javier, I'm going to put him as the manager of the whole factory, the superintendent, whatever. Javier, prior to that, might have been, working at a tire shop or something else, but he didn't have the ability to run a whole toilet paper factory. And then Javier put his son in to be over the machines. And then they
paid themselves very, very well, but no experience.
It's not even that they paid themselves. It's that they didn't know how to run it. So it collapsed under them. So Venezuela quickly became a country that had one output, and that was oil, because everything else went away. But they also did that with the oil. So the oil refineries and the drills and everything else, they started going tits up. And next thing you know, Iran can't produce good oil. And all this happened. It was in 2014 when Obama put sanctions on them. All this happened prior to Obama's sanctions. And Obama only sanctioned certain things. The sanctions weren't as heavy as the commies lead you to believe. I say the American commies. They collapsed under the weight of what commo nepotism always does. It always does this. Now, Iran, I think, functions a little different. They're a suppressive state through religion, which makes a totally different system. What is going on with our camera on?
It's showing on
Yeah,
there.
it's going fine there. It's just retarded there. So that's what we're looking at there. It's nepotism. I know everyone's afraid of it as a bad word because someone might get the chance or someone might not get the chance. But the problem with nepotism is that nepotism, you move people into a position that aren't capable of running that position.
It doesn't even have to be nepotism. It's favoritism over the whole,
It
or
is.
Favoring a race, or
It is,
favoring
yeah.
a genre,
But
and not going merit based.
That still falls under the nepotism.
It wrecks everything.
So, but that big toilet paper factory, and how I learned about this, I watched an interview back in 2010 with the guy that ran it. The company I work for, they had a factory down there, and Facebook is trying to crash on us. They ran a factory down there, and and they took it over and ran it into the ground. And so then they invited my company back in after it failed. My company went in and they had stole everything.
Right. That's like the oil in Venezuela.
Completely stripped the place. All the equipment, everything else. So my company had to go down there and set it all up again.
At their expense.
Yeah.
And that's the same with the oil in Venezuela. America sets all of this stuff. This is Facebook.
It's
Or did we crash?
Yeah. I'm going to try restarting it.
Oh,
but
no.
yeah.
That's what happened in Venezuela. American oil companies go in, set up. There's going to be a great boom, the production, and they get all this going, and they're there for how long before they get pushed out, and their oil is stolen. Their products are stolen. Even the very equipment they use to get the oil out of the ground is all taken over by a regime. And
well, Iran, it didn't happen quite the same way. Their oppression happens because of because of the religious oppression. It's not so much the expropriation, although they did that, but it is a little more complicated of a story because we did go around and play in the beginning, which gave us Mohammed Mossadegh, was that his name? Which gave them that guy, and then that was the guy, and he was kind of a tyrant, but yeah, it gets a little more complicated.
Well, and right now we're trying to figure out Facebook. If you can hear us but can't see us, join us on YouTube at Political Head Trauma. You can still comment there. We do want you here on Facebook though, so hopefully we can get that fixed. And, again, messages chime in. We'd love to have you and your thoughts on this. I'm sure there are smarter people than us out there. We're following along just like you and reading as all that we can. And with everything changing minute to minute with the news, it's not easy to keep up.
This is going swimmingly. But anyways, so yeah.
What's wrong with it?
I don't know. Facebook crashed on it. I don't know. I'm not sure.
That's crazy. I've never seen that. Has that happened before?
Yeah, it's happened quite a few times.
What's up, Zuckerberg?
Okay. It's trying now. It's trying. But anyway, so that's talking about Iran. That moves us on to Greenland, isn't it? Isn't that where we're at now?
If we look at it, Iran, Russia, China, Cuba, and any other country that doesn't agree with the United States. I mean, some parts of the EU, right? We're struggling, folks, and we're getting our hands in every pot. What I don't understand is, what is that I made fun of last time and called it the Don
Roe Doctrine?
The Don Roe Doctrine. That is a doctrine meant to protect our hemisphere and our nation, as well as our allies. The fact that they're bringing it up now and, blowing the dust off. And Greenland's right there in the wake. And 50,000 people live in Greenland, if I'm not mistaken. And Denmark owns Greenland, apparently, or claims it. So they added an extra dog sled team. Did you know that? They beefed up their military there. I'm not even kidding. That's what they said when Trump said, "What are you doing to protect your Greenland?" Because China's moving in, Russia's moving in, the United States is in. I mean, everybody wants to be there because it is a very crucial nation that is a passage, not just to the United States, but to the EU.
Well, it's not just that. The main thing is it's kind of our cover for anything coming over the Arctic.
Yes.
Here, my opinion, my thoughts on this.
Streaming.
Yeah, we're going again, I guess. I don't know what's going on, guys. Let me see if my hand raises on there. Okay, my thoughts on this is Europe is collapsing. Europe has surrendered to one, they didn't breed, so they brought in a whole bunch of migrants, but they didn't incorporate their migrants, so they're having a flux with that. So Europe has surrendered. Europe surrendered to socialism. They've surrendered to the green movement. They've surrendered to all that. So they're not a reliable ally anymore. Canada is doing their best to follow Europe down the toilet. So they're not a reliable ally anymore. So where does that put us? We've got to kind of jump on and take over. And that's where I think the Don Roe Doctrine is coming in. So maybe we're going to see the world split into two hemispheres for a while for kind of dominance. Maybe there won't be one nation that is dominant anymore in the next little while. That could happen. I happen to think we've kind of been heading that way for quite a while. I think the American people don't have, or the United States populace don't have the stomach for the big ventures and the world policing anymore like we used to. I don't think. I think that's a general feeling, and it's not just Trump. You could see echoes of that through Obama. I think after Iraq and Afghanistan, I think that left such a taste in our mouth that, like, I'm not happy. I don't want us to go in and conquer Greenland. And maybe it's all just a ploy, because maybe Trump's ploying them into acting.
I don't know.
You know, because they keep sending over. I mean, so far, all of Europe together and England has sent over about half a platoon worth of people, 2 squads.
Oh my gosh, it's like not even 20 people.
But that's more than they ever had there before.
Right. And let's be honest. And you know what? If Trump offered $1 trillion for Greenland, I wouldn't be mad, because, you know, they got pissed when their Louisiana purchase was made. They got pissed when Alaska was made. And yet these purchases ended up being good for the United States as a whole.
Let's just say Jefferson, for all he talked, he bought a lot of stuff without getting permission. He bought a whole Navy and didn't get permission. And then the Louisiana Purchase without getting permission. And that funded Napoleon for another, 4 or 5 years.
Either way, I mean, that made the United States giant.
Okay.
I mean, Greenland would be but I would like it for the people of Greenland to make that decision. And what I'm seeing is Denmark is over. Now, I could be wrong, but what I'm seeing is Denmark is saying, no way, that's ours. But the people of Greenland are saying, give us the money.
I don't know what the people are saying, but I know Denmark's probably saying that just because they're trapped in that European surrender mindset. Let's face it, Europe, you can't field an army. You're done. You're done. And if you did field an army, let me ask you this, Europe. If you did field an army, okay, you've got one piece of equipment, that Eurofighter, the Typhoon. That's the only piece of equipment that is universally made throughout your whole union, right? Everything else, you've got tanks. You've got France has their own tank. Germany has their own tank. Great Britain has its own tank. How are you going to logistically support it, right? They're all different. You can't field an army right now. You've got to get that figured out. You've got to decide.
United. Yeah.
There you go. And when you go into war and you stockpile a whole bunch of Challenger crap and the Leopards all get wiped out, you can't put Challenger crap on a Leopard. You're not uniform. You have different weapons. Just the small arms of your infantrymen, how are you going to support that? We won World War II because everyone who fought in World War II drove the Sherman tank. Everyone who fought in World War II had a Jeep. We could logistically support that. Yes, small arms, they were all different across the board. That's because, I don't know. For some reason, the Brits wanted the Lee Enfield, the bolt action, because they thought that the Garand would chew up too much ammo. The Garand was so much better.
The point is, they're not united, and they're so used to fighting each other. And the United States does have a military that is uniform and united. And the thing is Greenland could be just used by Russia and China, who are both united, mind you, in their own armies.
No, the minute that calms down, they'll be back at each other's throat. China has already been.
No, I'm talking about individually. They've got a united army that is all the same.
They're not united together.
Not together, no.
Okay. William says, unfortunately, and despite this, Chavez was later pardoned by other President Rafael Caldera sometime afterwards. Are you talking about after he did his attempted coup in like 92 and then was pardoned? What year was that he tried
Hi, William. Coup? Read down. He's got a few comments.
After that, he could participate in the 98 presidential election. Yes. So he tried a coup when he was a colonel, and then and then after that, he ran. He shouldn't have been pardoned. Nicaragua. And then he says, hello, guys. Good evening for you. Good evening for you, William. And then he said, Chavez made a mess in 92 when he tried to overthrow the democratic government of Carlos Andres Perez through military coup. Yep. He was a colonel at the time, if I remember. Unfortunately, despite this, Chavez was later pardoned by other President Rafael Caldera sometime afterward. After that, he could participate in the 98 presidential election. And that's when he won. Now, he won because Venezuela was on the road to wealth, but there were certain, and it's tough. There were like minority groups who weren't, either they were locked out of the economy, which I don't think they were, or they weren't participating to the full extent. And that's more of what I think was happening. But he got their support, the minority of the mostly native population, which where he hails from. He was, more native than the norm, I guess, would be the way to say it.
What are your guys' thoughts regarding Greenland? I'm curious because we've got so much chaos to get into regarding the United States and what's going on in our own backyard, right? I know Trump really thinks, and he thought this back in 2016. He's thought about it a long time, about Greenland, and he's brought it up a number of times. Many presidents have talked about it. It is a very key location for our safeguards regarding that area of the globe. And for you flat earthers, the area of the map, and they don't believe you can go over the Arctic, but it is a key location.
Okay, I'm gonna hold on. There we go.
A lot of people are saying that we just want to get in there for their rare minerals and all of that. And maybe that's true. I don't know about Greenland's rare minerals, but I know if I was one of the 50,000 that live there, I wouldn't want the United States coming and planting their flag or threatening to destroy us in any way or overtake us. But if they're offering $1 trillion and the people have a say, I mean, that's generational. And Greenland, we could borrow them the weather machine and we could turn it into a tropical island, and make it a tourist
Have
destination.
you heard about the solar storms that's been going on?
No.
So, all right, I am going to do some
You're going to
reading.
stop what we're doing and go right to that. ADD, folks. We both have
Earth
it.
hit by the biggest solar radiation storm in 23 years, triggering northern lights as far
I have seen the
as
northern
Southern
lights.
California.
I have seen the fact.
So we're like I haven't been able to see them, but they've got pictures of them taken by a special camera in Florida.
Florida.
Yes.
Wow.
Now, you can't see them apparently with the naked eye down there, but a camera can see them. I don't know, high exposure, but I don't know. So, and then they came out and said that our magnetosphere, so like our magnetic north, our North Pole, it's always moving. It's like 24 miles a year or something like that.
Like floating?
The magnetosphere moves around the earth. Like here's the earth, right? And the magnetosphere sits kind of like that around it and kind of just a touch, but I guess it made a big jump a little bit ago. And that's got a lot of people.
Is that what causes gravity? Like, what is it?
That's what protects us from being burned alive by the sun and looking like Mars.
Okay, so it's in the atmosphere then.
Well, it's caused by the molten iron core spinning
In the earth.
inside the middle of the earth. It spins at a different rate than the rest of the earth does,
Interesting.
which is like it's a dynamo effect. Look, you're being explained this by a retard. Please, if
Have we
anyone
ever
knows better.
dug down to the center of the earth?
God, no, you can't get near it.
All right.
You'd melt. It's molten iron.
Hotter than the sun?
No,
I didn't think so. All right.
but hotter than anything we can control for.
Someone's tried, right?
I think the deepest was Russia dug down and they found hell and dug back. I don't know. That's a conspiracy. But they've got the deepest hole that's been dug by humans.
Interesting.
And it's really not as deep as you think. But so, but
Are we back on Facebook?
I think so.
Hey, shoot us a message, Dave, if we're back on.
Well, it's showing us right there. So the magnetosphere, it's been moving every year. So we do know that we have a polar shift, which is probably crazy. But people who study that or believe in that or whatever, think that we're getting ready to have another one, which is a civilizational reset moment.
Yeah, and not preventable in any way, shape, or form. Let's just say man can't prevent what the sun does.
We can't prevent what the poles do either.
So don't lay in the road and stop traffic, folks. That's not smart.
But anyways, so Dave says Chinese cars are really cool, though. Yes, they are. I've been watching. Their electric cars are pretty interesting too. That is, sadly, it's going to be the future. Maybe not sadly. I don't know.
Electric cars, though, are hard to maintain when you get into the minerals it takes to maintain them.
Hopefully, someone said they've got a breakthrough in a new battery that isn't as lithium based. And so we'll see how that goes. I don't know, but they are really cool. They're breaking into a market and they're blazing ahead with it. Yeah. Dave says he rode in them in Brazil. None for us because of the free market. None for us because of the free market. I think none for us because of protectionism, for sure. 100%. And then he asks, big question, do you think Somalians have higher IQs than us now that we give them all our money? Well, not higher IQ than us, but higher IQ than the government officials and governors. I don't need to throw out any names, but I have been using Tim Walz as a substitute for retard on TikTok because TikTok don't like me to say retard.
I don't love it either.
You don't love Tim Walz? Me neither.
Tampon Tim.
They are smarter than him because he is a bona fide retard.
They're smarter than the United States government.
Our government is designed to bleed money out like that because this is the problem when you open up a government department. That government department's always going to look for excuses for that government department to exist.
Right.
Always. And under any circumstance. Okay. Let's see. Recently I saw a video of supposed young Greenlanders mocking the United States by using postures associated with people who consume fentanyl, which was quite unpleasant. I saw that video as well. That was kind of funny. The fentanyl zombies, and that is a true thing. We got fentanyl zombies in Democrat cities where they
they're
foster
everywhere.
that kind of action. It's sad. I don't know what the answer is. We need to open up nut houses again. That's what we need.
Make asylums great again. MAGA.
That video didn't amuse me at all. And I'm sure Greenlanders wouldn't like it if people mocked them and the forced sterilizations that Denmark carried out on them between 1960 and 1970. Ooh, I'd never heard about that.
Yeah.
They forced sterilized them, huh? They didn't like the Greenlanders?
Look at their population. And when they do have children, they leave. There's no prosperity there.
Yeah, man, that's a tough spot. You're pushed up against an iceberg like that. They produce strong men up there, though. Good hell.
You have to be in that climate.
Yes.
I mean, it's literally the opposite of
you sure
green.
That's not ladies laying down with bears?
I don't know. Are there polar bears up there?
Like that choosing the bear over men thing?
I don't know. I honestly, I don't know the answer to this. I know that we agree. We don't want military action, but how do you feel if an offer was made and it was accepted financially? Do you see it a good investment for the United States? Not to make them a state per se, but to make them a territory at least.
I'm almost to the point of, you know what?
I mean, Denmark is one of our allies, right?
Make them all states except for DC. I think DC has to be separated. I think what they need to do is peel off DC so that the government end of it is all by itself and push the populated city part of it into either Virginia or Maryland. I'd cut it down the middle, give half and half. I don't care. I don't want to see DC as a state just because that adds more complications.
It was never meant to be a state.
But, Puerto Rico, statehood. That's good.
Well, Puerto
Guam,
Rico,
statehood.
Here's my question. Denmark is an ally, correct? Aren't they part of?
Europe has collapsed. Denmark has gone through such green initiative. You see all of the farmers protesting
Yes.
over there, spraying cow poo on the government building because Denmark has given up. All of Europe has given up. They all fell into that feminist trap that has made them give up on prosperity, give up on innovation, give up on even moving forward. They've all kind of collapsed in on themselves. Europe is done. Europe is done for 100 years at least.
Political correctness destroy them.
They are done. And I feel bad for any European, that doesn't want to be a part of that, but that's the price you pay. And yes, the U.S. has covered your defense so that you can build up this whole big social safety net underneath it. If the U.S. pulls back its defense, can you keep that social safety net?
I don't think Denmark alone can do it without the EU, especially, and the United States as an ally. And
I'm talking all of Europe.
But this is what I'm thinking. How does the EU feel about the United States wanting Greenland?
They hate it.
But then
Macron is out there. The flipping surrender monkeys out there trying to threaten us.
Why can't there be a coalition to where the United States builds a large military base like we have in every other country, and so does the EU? Let's make it a super highway for
because
our principles.
Honestly, I think because we recognize that we can't count on Europe as being a long-term military ally.
Well, yeah, what's going on
here's
in
the
Europe
fact.
is absolutely
Not just that,
insane.
Europe hasn't reproduced itself. It hasn't made babies, right?
Yeah, neither
So
way.
no, we haven't. Now, that's another conundrum for over here. Now, Europe hasn't made babies, so they've got an influx of a whole bunch of
Migrants
that are religiously antagonistic to them and antagonistic to us.
right, culturally
And religiously.
and they're making babies like
And
crazy.
they sit right on the edge of where that religion dominates. So my money would be on, in 30 years, we will see Europe be a part of a greater Islamic, or a gray part of a greater Islamic caliphate.
Yeah, I was going to say caliphate. And David
And
posted something on our Facebook.
Yeah, but how does
That
that
was
work
atrocious.
with us having them as a military ally? They won't be a good martial ally at that time.
You don't
So-
think there's going to be an uprising of people in England, for example, that are tired? I mean, we're seeing protesting in the street like crazy, and they feel empowered because we have
God, I hope
Donald
so,
Trump
but
in the White House.
They
Like,
gave up their guns.
that was a long time before a lot of these people were adults. We were
Sure, they
watching
gave
young
up their
people.
they gave up their guns. So what are they going to do?
I mean,
They've got a 40-pound or 40-kilogram policewoman out there arresting them with a stupid yellow vest on
no, I get that.
for putting up a Facebook post that says, "Man, I don't like it when my neighbor, acts a fool."
This is requiring a revolution, and the leaders in Europe they need to get behind it. But sadly,
The leaders are in on it because they make bank from it.
right,
They make bank from bringing in immigrants that drives down the wages, because they're all business owners and bankers, that drives down the wages of their population, and also supplies them with a labor force that's kind of semi-hostage.
can you guys imagine what it would look like on the world stage if we didn't have Donald Trump in the office? I said it last week, I would vote for him 1,000,000 times over the alternative. And this is what frightens me as an American. As I don't agree with everything he's doing. Hell, we're questioning a lot of this stuff and we don't want to be involved. That's not what we voted for. But on the other end, we did vote for a big change, and that's what they're fighting against in Europe, because what starts over there, it's here within no time. It's just a few years glimpse into our future. And if we don't change it, then we're in big trouble. But we need, and they need, someone in the White House that's going to say, hey, revolt, you don't live this way, you will not sustain. And then you see it happening in Venezuela, and you see it happening in Iran, and you see it in Europe. What happens if someone left-wing, kooky, political correct gets back into the White House? What happens to the world stage?
Not if, when.
Caliphates will all come together, because that is the goal.
It's coming.
The goal is to reproduce yourself into power.
Hey, yeah. Well, I didn't do a very good job of it. But David says there were no zombies in Brazil. They do not have that issue. Is it because they are not enemies of China?
That's a good point.
I wonder, David, what does Brazil have? First of all, what does Brazil have for a social safety net? And what does Brazil allow for homeless people? Do they allow homeless people? Is that...
When you say allow, what does that mean? They don't kill them on the street?
No, like LA fosters homeless people.
That's true.
It's become an underground business marketing thing in not just LA, but all of California. And then, like, does Brazil have like homeless shelters and homeless outreach? I would like to know about that, because...
Is there addiction over there? I mean, there's got to be drugs that go into that country.
I'm sure there's addiction.
But what happens to those who are addicted?
But I would like to know what that looks like over there. How does that...
You know what? We should just send him a link and get him in here. It's been a while since we've had him on. Dave, are you busy? You got your hair combed? You should join us.
Got your hair did.
Because you're right. When you don't own guns and drones, you are a slave. I love that you added the drones, because some of us just wouldn't have included that. And when your gun doesn't attach to a drone, you're also in trouble.
Yeah. Look, I think guns are kind of a minimum. The ability to defend your home.
You're not wrong. In Australia, too, Australia's had an uprising, and then they vote their way into less freedom. And this is happening all over the world, and we're the last stand. And without Don in the White House, I don't know what it looks like.
He's in bed and his wife is sleeping.
Oh, okay. Well, give her extra hugs from me. I miss you both.
I would like to know how that works in Brazil.
I'm curious, too.
They have the dole, and it's rather robust, and the homeless are everywhere, but no zombies. Is there homeless, like our homeless is probably, I would argue, probably a high 90% addiction. I would say that's most of our homeless, are people who's fallen into addiction
and mental illness.
Is there a difference? And then
I think there's a difference.
I would say most of the mental illness you find in the homeless is probably caused by repeated and heavy drug use. I know I have a kid I grew up with who is in that exact same boat. Now, I wonder what their homelessness is caused by.
They do have good weather, and that's something that LA has, that people can be sustained in the streets with good weather. Yeah,
you can survive it better.
Right.
I don't know.
But Brazil is still a socialist type of country. I mean,
yeah, I mean, it drifts in now. All of those South American countries, they rush back and forth. God forbid if you were colonized by the Iberian Peninsula, you can't seem to figure nothing out. You can't seem to figure nothing out if you're colonized because England, when they come in and colonized you, they brought you up and trained you to become managers of your own country. Anything from the Iberian Peninsula, they came over and they treated your colony mercantile. All of your bosses, all of your governors, all of everything was Spanish. and all of the natives were just laborers.
So they conquered, and then you became a slave to your leader.
Essentially, yeah, you became a peasant. And England did not do that. England,
They have more
built
homeless
people
than
up.
LA. It's more normalized.
I would say
They
they
do
have more-
drugs, just not fentanyl.
Hmm.
I mean, you're right. China used that fentanyl as a weapon against the United States.
Yeah, we fell right into it. The sad ones is when you see the youth who go out and try, you know, whatever party drug
Pain
they're
pill
trying
for the first time,
and it shuts their lights out. That's very sad. Sad for the family, sad for a surprise. Yeah. I mean, it's sad when anyone overdoses. It really is. It's sad that our law enforcement has to carry Narcan. Thank God Narcan's relatively cheap, you know.
no, it isn't.
I saw a thing of it. What was it, like $95? Was it $95?
When I had my surgery and they prescribed opioids, I had requested that just to have in my home. And I think any parent should have it in their home.
You requested it from who?
From my doctor, Narcan.
Okay.
Just in case there was ever an accident. And then I started thinking, what if I couldn't wake my kid up one day and they had made a mistake and tried a pill, and there was that one shot that maybe that could save him. And I'm like, why does every parent not have it in their cabinet? It's something that is so constant in this country.
Just be a good
It's
idea.
killing kids.
God.
So I asked for it. It was $195 to fill that. Now,
That was from a doctor. I saw it at like Costco or something.
You can get it for free at, I think, the library, some programs where you can get it for free. And
They
I was
just
able to get it.
Give you one, and
Well, it's just in a box and
Yeah.
it gives you the directions. I've never used it, never needed it.
I'd keep it in my car
but-
next to the tourniquet.
Well, you want to keep it because, especially if you've got teenage kids. And I mean, this is a drug that if they make a mistake, stupid mistake, they don't wake up ever. And if there's an opportunity for you to save them, you know, when seconds matter, I think every parent should have it.
Oh,
Even if your kid is
100%.
the best kid on the planet, mistakes happen. And
You never know.
I think every parent should have it on hand.
I would go for it.
And it was just really expensive. I was shocked.
194 is really not that expensive for something that would.
Most families can't afford that.
Yeah, but that's not terrible. I
And you needed a prescription, by the way.
yeah,
It
you
wasn't
don't,
like
you don't
for
anymore.
sale.
Next to the
This
free
was June.
we had a free condom jar, Dave. Dave said next to free condom jar at college. We had a free condom jar at our aid station in Korea. Just this big old fish bowl full of all the different varieties.
This is different because, you know, not having a condom brings life. Great. This kills you. This kills you in a second, and it's lights out for a young person. And this gives parents, it's like a weapon. It's a weapon against losing your kid.
It's tough.
So I think parents should
tough,
have
yeah.
it. And I know law enforcement carries it on them.
I think, yeah, it's not a bad idea to have 100%. All right. Well, I don't know if we'll get Christopher on.
Yeah, we reached out to Chris Fields, who is a dear friend of the show. Him and his wife, Cami, are just the cutest. And he is recently a first-time grandfather. So he is celebrating that with his darling daughter. And what's so great is he's highly involved, you know, politically. He studies hard. He's been really involved, him and his wife, just learning all they can and trying to protect rural Utah. As you know,
Did
I
he
am
move
running
down there?
No, he's just visiting down in Cedar.
Okay.
But I'm running for House District 29, and one of my major goals is to keep our rural values and our rural way of life out here in our county, as well as Juab and Millard. And the thing is these values that we have are day and night what it's like in Salt Lake City.
Mm.
And those of you that aren't from Utah and you think, oh, Utah's this really conservative Mormon. Yes, we are. However, it's not just Mormons here. We've got a lot of Christians here. And if they're not Christians, they're really, really good people who value a safe neighborhood, who value knowing their local councilman and their sheriff. And that's the thing about rural Utah. They value their neighbors and they love their guns and they love their neighbors' engagement. They watch out for their neighbor's kids. They can still yell at their neighbor's kid if he's doing something inappropriate. We all are. It's a different way of life in rural Utah. And to me, it's the most precious way to live, especially raising a family. And it's freedom, right? We don't want the values that Salt Lake has. We still love our neighbors in Salt Lake, most of them. But the politics there is vastly different than what they are here. And that's by design. People move out here to appreciate the values that we have out here. And we want to maintain that even for newcomers who come out here. Chris is born and raised in Grantsville, just like you. And that is the smallest big
together.
city I know of. It is like a great big city. It's doing leaps and bounds. It's growing, but it's also the smallest town on the planet. Everybody knows everybody there. And like you need a DNA test to date a local there, right?
Used to. It's getting a little different. When I grew up there was, I don't know, 6,000, 7,000 people. Now there's 20,000 or so. But William says, another thing I read is that a couple of German politicians talked about boycotting this year's FIFA World Cup, which will be held in the U.S.
That'll do a lot of good.
By not sending the German national soccer team due to the Greenland issue. I think those German politicians are behaving like whiny children. And the same boycott rumor came up the other day from whiny leftists when Maduro was captured. Either way, they're just tantrums by spoiled children who deep down envy the United States.
Children who don't play the sport.
Well,
children who are ridiculous. You think the German soccer team gives two craps? They want to come to the United States and beat the pants off of us and every other country in the world. Sports guys don't care about Greenland and political drama.
They might.
They want to play the sport.
The damage that funny mustache guy did to Germany will be a shadow they'll live with for forever. I would argue the damage that 5'9" yet short guy did, or 5'7", average height, yet short guy did to France did the same thing.
That's the point, though. They also dominate.
They've taught it
in foosball.
Well, no, they've taught their people from a young age. You can't be proud of who you are, where you're from. You can't. Anything. I worked with a German guy at Detroit Diesel. He was brought over when Detroit was part of Daimler Chrysler. And it's funny. He was rather racist against the Turks. Every time a German piece of equipment came over and we had to rework it, he says, that was a Turk that built that.
What's a Turk?
Turkish person. Because Germany went through the immigrant influx with Turkey. Because let's face it, we got prosperous. When you get prosperous, you quit reproducing. Now, it just happens. It's the story of humans throughout history. We're not the first. We're not the last. Rome went through it. Greece went through it. China went through it 5 times. Everyone goes through it. When you get prosperous, you quit reproducing. You become...
Yeah, but I mean, back to Germany.
You produce more when you're thirsty and hungry and the memories of your childhood are a little rough. But anyways.
No, Germany, for example, my family, my husband's family is from Germany.
Yes.
And they do have a lot of national pride. I mean, they've got tradition, and soccer's one of them that they go full bore in. Soccer is a religion there. And
sure,
I'm sorry,
but
football is a religion.
What I'm saying
there.
about it is Germany has produced this emasculated culture.
Well, it can never be forgotten. Why? And I mean, I know that
What do you mean it can never be
Hitler
forgotten?
is never in our conversations in our family. Hitler doesn't come up unless we're discussing a horrible time that my mother-in-law lived through as a child. And the Germans were victims. They were victims just like other people. And it was bad. It was really bad.
Sure.
And they couldn't do anything about it because they also
But
gave up their
prior to it
guns.
being really bad, it was actually really good, because prior to that, it was the Weimar Republic, and you were burning bricks of money for heat because it was cheaper than wood.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was over there when they made the Deutschmark a euro, and that was interesting. That really hurt them, just because their Deutschmarks became very
Well, because they were the economic powerhouse of Europe. But that's going away because Germany embraced the green movement, and they said, we're way north of the equator. We get more clouds here.
And they're one of their
lots of
best
trees.
inventions was vehicles.
Well, hold on. Let me lots of trees, and it's cold here, and lots of mountains. So let's tear down our nuclear facilities and go with wind and solar in a place where it's completely impractical.
The entire world fell for that crap.
Except for France.
France has a graveyard of electric cars.
Yeah, but France powers itself, I think, like almost 78% nuclear.
Right. But they all embraced it because it was a very big money-making scheme, whether they believed it or not. The rich got richer and the politicians got richer. But the German people, I mean, my family worked for Porsche. I mean, they were builders, and they still are. Like, I think the migrants is what destroyed them, because it made them unsafe. It really made them unsafe. My niece doesn't walk the streets in even populated cities at night, because rape is a big deal there. And it's a culture that can't even relate to Western culture. They're fighting against a culture of people.
That's a tactile problem that they have in the immediate. Their chronic problem is, remember when Trump went and had that meeting with them? He said, you guys got to quit relying. He said, you guys went all this green initiative and tore down your nuclear plants, and now you're relying on Russia.
Oh, made the deal with Russia. That was
you're relying on Russia to provide your energy after not 2 years ago you were griping that Russia took Crimea.
Do you remember that photo from the meme where they're all standing over him, and the president of Germany is right there, like yelling at him, and he's just sitting back like this at the desk? That's when they argued about Russia.
You can watch the video of them laughing.
It's unbelievable.
And here it is. Welcome to the world.
Trump is a lot of things, folks, and he may not be someone you want to invite to dinner or date your daughter.
Well, I'd invite him to dinner.
I'm telling you that we are so blessed to have somebody who is a wild card.
I'm not going to
be in the world.
I'm not going to be a truck cificant, because there's still too many plates being
I agree.
twirled around.
But look at the alternative.
But the alternative, Joe Biden's. Anyway, so
Tampon Tim could be our vice president a heartbeat away from the presidency. Now the guy may not even serve out his rest of his governorship if things don't change. And let's get into ICE now.
All right, on to ICE. So you were having a conversation with Christopher. Oh, hold on. Dave says, good luck, Holly. I wonder if the 57,000 population of Greenland would ever notice we are in Greenland. It's so big.
That's a good point.
Before Poland, it seemed like roses and victory to the German population. Yeah, before the Molotov pact that they made with the USSR. You guys understand the kickoff of World War II was a pact made between Stalin and Hitler to invade Poland at the same time. For whatever reason, Stalin waited 6 days. So Hitler got all the brunt for it, and Stalin came in and said, I invaded Poland to protect them from Hitler. But the Nazis wrote letters back about the atrocities that the German army did. The German army killed all of the officership of Poland, all of it. Hundreds of thousands of people massacred by the Communist Party. And the Nazis wrote back and said, this is crazy. What are they doing? You know, the Nazis were rough on their own case. Let's be completely clear about that. Both sides were populated with shit. But yeah, it was, and it's funny how history forgets that.
Well, let's talk about where we are now. Right now, I just want to make this clear. What's happening with ICE? And many of you know that an ICE officer had to shoot a woman who hit him with her car. And in fact, medical reports just came out. He had internal bleeding from that hit. But many of you saw the news where they didn't show that part, that video. It looked like she was driving straight and someone shot her in the head. Well, she was shot directly. And the officer and even the line of fire, the forensics that was done showed that he was directly in front of her. He was hit. Now, these people are paid activists. We're going to be honest. These people are searching for ICE and trying to impede their investigations. Now, when ICE has to kill someone to protect themselves, that's the beginning. These activists now have jumped up. Protests have gone even higher. You've got the governor of Minnesota, Tampon Tim, coming out blaming ICE officers and all this other stuff. None of this would be happening.
Jacob Fry, the mayor of Minneapolis.
None of this would be happening if the governor and the mayors allowed ICE to go into facilities where these men are already locked up, or women, these criminal aliens who have committed crimes and been found guilty of said crimes. If they were allowed to go in and apprehend them in the facilities, they wouldn't have to go out to neighborhoods, into apartment complexes, etc., and find these people. And in the meantime, catch everybody else up in their trap. What's going to happen, my opinion, is it's going to get ugly and it's going to get deadly. And they're basically starting an insurrection themselves by denying the federal government access to these criminal aliens.
It's yes, but it's also deeper than that. I would argue that thing with that lady, good, something good, wouldn't have happened had
Renee
Good wouldn't have happened if local law enforcement was involved. But because of the mayor and the governor and their ways, they won't let local law enforcement work with ICE, which is why you see ICE is always there by themselves. You don't see any of that stuff happening in ICE is doing the job in Texas. ICE is doing the job here in Utah, in Nevada, in Georgia, in everywhere. But local law enforcement shows up with them.
Let me tell you what's going on tomorrow.
When local law enforcement shows up, they're also a screen for the civilian populace to keep that interaction limited. And that's a benefit to everyone. But because of the actions of the government of Minneapolis, the government of Minnesota, we have ICE has to go in by themselves. So they have to go in at heavier numbers. Yes, they wear a mask and everyone says, oh, law enforcement never wears a mask. Bullshit.
2020.
I was on a SWAT team. I wore a mask every time we put that on. Wear balaclava. And you do that because you don't want the crazy people to know who you are. And down here in Utah, ICE probably doesn't wear a mask. When they're up in crazy land, they've got to wear a mask because those crazies do what crazy people do. And they stormed into a church. And now those crazies on Martin Luther King Jr. Day might end up getting charged with the Ku Klux Klan Act. Everyone drink that in for a minute.
That's if they don't end up getting shot because they're
No,
putting lives in danger.
The BLM activists from last Sunday, including Don Lemon, the second dumbest man in the United States, right after Tim Walz, might get charged with the Ku Klux Klan Act.
I'll try to sleep
You
at
can't
night
make
knowing
this
that.
shit up. It is like we are living in Blazing Saddles right now. Like he's come out from the
Classic.
rock and he's holding his own neck.
Where are the white women at?
Where the white women at? We're living in that world. You guys drink that in. You lefties are retarded.
Okay, can I add something? Happening tomorrow at our capital here in Utah. Sponsor of this bill is Nate Bluen. His bill is called Enforcement Activities Amendment, and it is absolutely ridiculous. And if you're a member of law enforcement or you actually believe in the values of our protecting our law enforcement, federal, state, local, whatever it is, get up to the Capitol at 2 p.m. tomorrow and go watch this bill. We need to fill the room. Number 1, prohibits certain state and local law enforcement officers from assisting with federal immigration enforcement operations in sensitive
Do you think it'll
location
pass?
or house of worship. Prohibits an employee of law enforcement agency from using facial coverings.
Do you think it'll pass? Do you think
I wouldn't be asking people to go to the Capitol if I was sure it would.
Do you think it has a cold chance in hell of passing? I don't.
We don't think it's going to happen in our backyard, but we have seen
I don't think it'll pass.
Salt Lake City especially.
Sure, but
We have our own problem in Salt Lake.
sure, but
This is going to put law
legislator in
enforcement
all of
officers'
Utah.
lives at risk. And a lot of law enforcement that works for ICE is homegrown police officers who have gone to work for them and so they can stay local and help their communities.
That ICE guy that shot Renee Good was from Minneapolis. He lived in the same city.
Oh, why is he wearing a mask? That's weird.
Because he got doxxed, because they found out his name, because they had to publish the name, because a use of force incident happened. And then he got doxxed. Some crackhead lady came on and said, oh, he lives down the street from me. I'm not going to say the name of the street. And then she said the name of the street. So then he had to go into hiding with his family. Why does it happen? Because you lefties are out of control.
These lefties who are paid protesters, folks, these guys
No,
aren't going out just for a walk in the park.
Thing.
They're getting paid to go be activists and hunt down our federal law enforcement, putting their lives at risk and
it goes
yours.
deeper than that. And if our DOJ doesn't do something about this, well, I'll never vote Republican again. I'm just telling you that right now. Here's what happened. Some people have been digging into the names of those, into the backgrounds and names of those protesters that broke into that church.
Yeah, tell that story for people that don't know.
So Don Lemon and a group of BLM activists, some chick named Armstrong, let me just say, all of them heads up their fourth point of contact. They went to a church while service was going on and started screaming and chanting, walked into the church,
a Christian church,
entered the church. They wouldn't do it to a mosque. So obviously it was a church, and started interrupting because a pastor that works there, he wasn't there that day, also works for ICE. So they figured that was a legitimate target. So that's where the Ku Klux Klan Act comes in. A Klan that was written in 1870, because the Ku Klux Klan kept doing that to black churches and interrupting their services. Party. I said Ku Klux Klan.
The Democrats created the Ku Klux Klan, folks. For those of you that don't know, that was literally where they had their conventions.
The armed wing of the Democrat Party.
They were the.
But anyways, so they wrote this law, and so you're not allowed to go in and protest inside of churches. You're not allowed to stop people from their religious services. Now, I'm not a religious man, but I believe in allowing people their ability to practice their religion. So these BLM activists might get charged, and I hope they do, and they should have the book thrown at them. I think
they went into the church
they went into the church, including Don Lemon, and gathered around, started threatening people, yelling and chanting and all that other crap. And
people were afraid.
Yeah, well, and then the church emptied. Everyone got run out of there. So I hope they're all charged with that. And I hope they all get I think you can get up to 10 years in jail for that. And I hope they all get it. I hope they all get 10 years in jail. Let them rot. Let them rot.
DOJ needs to stand strong on this.
Let them rot. And well, if the DOJ doesn't, the Republicans can eat all the dicks because they'll never get another vote from me.
And I get that. And here's the problem. This is the beginning, right? What's going to happen next is armed citizens are going to start being a militia for the federal government. And then other armed citizens are going to start fighting said official militia. And before you know it, your kid is getting caught in a crossfire between government and people, and civil war could start. This is not just a simple thing. An officer has every right to complete their criminal investigation and let it be fought in court. You have no right to impede a federal investigation or a local one. And if you do, you'll be noticed as a threat. Do people not understand they're putting their lives in danger for a couple $100s a day to go protest something? And they're fighting, at the end of the day, they're fighting for rapists and child killers and DUI suspects, multiple. These are criminal aliens who have already been tried and found guilty by a jury. And they're not getting taken out of the jails from which they belong. They're going home. They're going home, and ICE has to go to their homes to get them because people like Tim won't allow ICE to go into their institutions where they belong, folks. This is insane. And the left is fighting for drug cartels and child sex abusers and rapists. This is what you're going to fight for?
Dave asked a good question. If a local government wants ICE to not be in their territory, should they not have the right to deny them and suffer the vote of the people next election? It would be if immigration was not the purview of the federal government. Would I like to see a situation where the federal government withdraws and we go more federalism, including with immigration? I think that would be much better. But as long as our federal government puts my money in to support the welfare state of other states, the federal government has purview.
And what about your safety?
But sure, the safety, whatever. But immigration,
that's the purview of the government.
Immigration is the purview of the federal government. That's why they can't just say no.
And I'm telling you, your safety is the purview of the federal government. And protecting United States and citizens is their job.
I would like to see Trump say, man, you know what? ICE is rough. So I've renamed the organization something else, give it an even cooler name, and send them out even harder. Jeff says, Nate is an absolute idiot. Never pass. It's Nate's grandstanding for the libtards. Yeah, it's not going to
slap in the face to local law enforcement.
No, it's a guy. What he's trying to do is he's trying to gain votes. He's got an election coming up very soon, I'm sure, and he's trying to make sure that he secures all of the retard vote. And look, I'm going to say it outright. You lefties are retards. You lefties are retards. Look,
what are you fighting for?
Let me take a minute, and I want to still man an immigration push. Yes, we have not reproduced ourselves as we should, so we need to bring in numbers of our population so that what little social safety net we have can stand, right? There's my push for still manning the immigration. What the left did was threw the doors wide open and let everyone in and didn't even get their names as they come through the door. They didn't check for safety, for security, for whatever else. And then they cry, oh, we've got all these different outbreaks and got all these different problems and we need more money. It's your guys' fault. I am a immigration positive person, but I'm actually, in my heart of hearts, an open borders person. But I recognize that you cannot have open borders and a welfare state because one will destroy the other. You can have open borders and a laissez-faire wolf state, but you can't have open borders and a welfare state. we have a welfare state. When they are taking 50% of your income to support all the different friends and neighbors in need, you can't bring in more people in need. Like the Somalians. I'm sure the Somalians, although they don't peak up very high on the IQ charts, I'm sure they started out with the best of intentions. But it's looking like the evidence, there is a dearth of Somalians that are on welfare, and the ones that aren't are playing a rigged system.
The ones that are like 80%, especially if the ones that have been here over 10 years.
Yes, that's a dearth. But they're playing a rigged system against the populace. And I got into an argument with a mutual friend of ours where you can't say anything to lefties because I don't know how they smell the world with their head that far up their ass, but they can. But when I try saying they act transitory, what are you calling them? What are you doing? They all get offended. And transitory means, well, they'll litter because they don't care about that neighborhood long term. They'll
not put their grocery cart back? It is that simple.
They'll fail the shopping cart test.
Character test.
But they'll also stretch the social safety net to a point of breaking because they don't care. They'll leave. They're transitory. They're in, not to me, to them, in their own mind. They're there as long as that place serves them, and then they'll move on. They're not there committed to making it a long-term viable place. They don't care about that. They're there for the temporary, and then they'll move on. The Democrats are handshaking with them because they want the votes. And also under Clinton, the Democrats gave up on trying to help out the working man. So now the Republicans are stepping in. There's a party switch right there if you ever want to talk about it. But so the Democrats they're doing it for the business. The Democrats sponsor it because the businesses want it, because the business
votes.
And the votes. The Democrats want the apportionment, and they want the businesses happy because the businesses give the Democrats a lot more money than they give the Republicans. Jeff says, that wasn't the plan. Democrats wanted a dependent class of voters. They don't care about immigrants who want to be benefits to society and self-sufficient. Those turn out to be Republicans. That's 100%.
I have to say, personally, I absolutely love immigrants, and I know many. And I know that they were here, they came here, whether legally or not, to make a better life. And they've actually lived their life giving back to the society that they're in. Culturally, they're religious people. They're at least good people. They're not committing crimes. This net that Trump supposedly has cast out to get every illegal out of here, that isn't stage one. Stage one is to get the criminals out. Well, and that was what everyone voted for when it came to immigration. These other people are getting caught up in this net because governors, mayors, they are not allowing immigration to work the way it should be. Sheriffs aren't allowing immigration to work the way it should work. And that is, we have a criminal here. He's 10 times DUI. We don't want to let him out because he's a threat to every person in this county. Come get him. That's what a sheriff should be doing. Here's a child rapist. We want him out of our county. Come and get him. That is what every sheriff should be doing, is looking out for the welfare of their community, number one. And that's what the federal government should be doing. And that's what they were doing. Now they have to go into the streets and go find these guys at their homes and get themselves already in a life and death situation just by being a SWAT team for whatever they're running into. Let's stop it and let governors take them out of the prisons they're in.
ICE should be a kind of bureaucratic police force where local police catch a guy and they call up ICE and they say, we've got an illegal here who we picked up on a crime. And then we turn them over to you. That's how ICE should be.
That's how
But
it was
be-
supposed to be.
But because the Democrats want to bolster their sanctuary cities and their voter base and their numbers, they have made it so that local police don't do that and can't do that anymore.
And
So now ICE has to be a tip of the spear police force.
it's only going
And
to get worse.
The feds should not have to have a tip of the. I don't want the feds to have a tip of the spear police force. I don't want that.
I don't either.
But I seen, and it's been playing all over YouTube right now. It's wild how the media turns. So CNN right now is all out talking how evil ICE is. But in, what was it, 2013, when Obama was president, CNN did a ride along with ICE, like a week-long ride along.
I mean, when Obama actually got rid of all those people in like 4 years, he got rid of
wrote up a big
500,000 people.
Yes, he didn't actually
more than Trump.
He didn't actually deport that many. It's because they counted turnbacks at the border as a deportation, which changed the numbers. But those also
speeches
counted
were different
for
back
Trump.
then.
But it's also the rhetoric coming out of Trump was different. We didn't have as many people coming to the border, where Obama sounded nice and was actually
Bill Clinton.
rueful.
Bill Clinton did his whole State of the Union, and a whole portion was dedicated to illegal aliens. And that's what he called them. And back then, the Democrats thought the Republicans were letting them into the border so they could work in farms and big business and corporations, and they were getting underpaid. And that's true. They are getting underpaid. They are working for less than you will work for.
It's not just that.
But then it switched. And then Biden opened the border, and no country should have open borders.
And okay, so we're in a reactionary period. So Trump came in saying we got to close the border because Trump noticed that the Democrats had walked away from the labor class. And so Trump saw that and he jumped in on side of the labor class. He played his politics, jumped in and managed it right. And so he wins and he closes down the border. But the Democrats, in their infinite retardation, they had to reverse that policy of his just to reverse it. I don't think the Democrats looked at opening the border for any tactical reason. They did it just for an optical reason to say,
I disagree.
Look, we're different than Trump. No,
I know they did it because they wanted to flood cities and get seats. That's why they sent them to the places they sent them.
They didn't have to do that. They did that just to buck Trump because it was Biden's cabinet who did it. I doubt Biden had any part of it. I don't think Biden was coherent 3 hours into being elected.
On the change in immigration, they were lined up at the border on election day.
He did run on it. He did screw up on that, and that was to get the votes. That was to get the votes of the retard lefties. I think it was his cabinet. He had a cabinet full of rather young, idealistic progressives. His whole cabinet was, and they ran the show, which is why you have the auto pen, which is why you have all that. I imagine if we would have had 1990s Biden, he would have made Trump, today's Trump, look utterly Democrat progressive. I think Biden played politics to get in, and dementia took over after that, and his cabinet ran the show. Just my opinion.
My opinion is that he already had dementia when he was running.
Oh, he did.
And
that's why I said dementia took over.
And I remember Bill Clinton talking about it in his State of the Union. And I remember Obama talking about it and Hillary talking about it. But when Trump said they're sending their rapists and their murderers, then the left had to jump on it because it's Trump.
They had to go against Trump because
that makes sense. That's what they always do.
Here's a big question.
They put kids in deadly danger, and trafficking all of a sudden became a word that was said around your dinner table when most people had no idea what human trafficking even was, or that it was happening in such large amounts across our country. And then we watched our teenagers die of fentanyl overdoses, and then mothers, and then fathers. And then you got to see young women being murdered out jogging or coming home from school, and they're getting younger and younger because there's a whole culture shift, because it's not just Southern America, it's coming across our border. And after 2001, after we get this severe attack on the United States of America, and you're seeing Chinese soldiers coming across our border and terrorists coming across our border, and the left is still fighting it because it's Trump. And at the end of the day, if we're sitting at the table and we're talking about this just person to person in real legit conversation about this whole ICE situation, at the end of the day, one side is fighting because it's Trump and because we're trying to get rid of brown people.
Let me ask you this.
And that is not the truth. You're defending the worst among society. People who are absolutely disgusting. These people who commit severe crimes to children because children don't count and neither do women. At the end of the day, that's who you're defending, not the person who overstayed their visa and has worked in the country for 25 years and has built a life and a family. You're defending those disgusting people. I don't care what race they are. They don't belong here. And every person that is killed by them is a preventable crime that our federal government has failed to do. And that is their job, is to protect us.
Let me ask you a question. So we know that Hillary kicked off with that, what was it, the Pied Piper plan, where she sicked CNN and all the news agencies on Trump, right? And so all the news agencies, she said the Pied Piper plan was for them to foster Trump and build him up, right?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You haven't heard of the Pied Piper plan?
I don't like Hillary Clinton or her scandalous ways. There's still Americans out there who believe in that stupid dossier that she started with her people.
So the Pied Piper strategy is a political tactic where a candidate, often an extremist or controversial figure, is supported by a party to gain traction in a primary election. So Hillary, especially CNN, told CNN, because she was friends with that black lady that was the head of the Democrat Party, and then what was her name? Anyways.
Leach or Rice.
Yeah, let's call her Leach. But anyways,
I don't remember.
So she sicked CNN on to boost Trump.
Right.
So CNN boosts Trump, and then everyone else jumps on the bandwagon. Everyone boosts Trump across the board, except in the beginning, Fox. Fox didn't boost Trump. They didn't like it.
And Hillary and Trump were friends.
But Hillary did that to Trump, so she thought Trump could not win.
Right. She thought could beat him.
She thought he was a ridiculous figure, so she had him boosted so he'd win the primary and she'd skate through. What she didn't recognize is the populace was tired of some of the antics that had gone on. They were tired of the coasts getting wealthy while the interior decayed. So Trump goes and wins. But it makes me wonder if sometimes, because right now the news can say nothing, not a dang thing positive about Donald Trump. CNN, well, CBS can now, weirdly enough, but CNN,
Trump
MS,
sat down with the New York Times editors and reporters for 3 hours.
You're not letting me finish. Yes, we know this.
Well, some people don't. And Trump sees the press daily. Daily.
Okay, never mind.
Dude, I'm heated.
I know, it's lost. What I was bringing up is lost. Anyway, sorry, guys.
Hillary Clinton is terrible.
Yeah, sure.
Thing is Trump is a wild card. People don't know what he's going to do next. And right now they need to do something. What does that look like?
No.
How do we stop people from attacking ICE or getting in their way? Is that local sheriffs? Because bills like this are coming through in our own state. And I think that it has a chance of passing.
Really?
There's a lot of support for it. You've got but again, it's Salt Lake City support. Rural Utah needs to show up at the Capitol tomorrow at 2 p.m.
Sure, but will rural legislators vote for it?
It's the Senate, so I have no idea.
I don't know.
I don't think it makes any sense. I mean, it makes no sense. Why would you not be supporting a federal law enforcement if you're local? It's just going to bring more drama to your community if you're not controlling the situation on a local level.
I would support it just because I would rather have my local police as that barrier between
Yeah.
the federal and my populace.
Always, right? That's
Yeah.
always the most important. Your
William,
local police should have it.
William brought up a good fact. He says, here's an interesting fact. This June 6th, the date of the famous D-Day, the Normandy landings, United States and Germany will play a friendly match ahead of the World Cup. Because of this, some people are reminded of the context of World War II. The match will be played in Chicago, where I have read there is an important German community. I agree. Open borders in the welfare state sound good in theory, but they can be a ticking time bomb in practice. And I still remember Crooked Hillary. I just wonder, I was just going to ask if you think the news is a carryover from that, when they fostered him and they feel guilty that they fostered him on the orders of Hillary, and they're all Democrat leftists. So now they're just anything he does. If he cured cancer, CNN would come out the next day and cry for a new
Tumor.
cancer.
I'm sorry that I interrupted you.
It's okay. You've
That's
been
a
doing
great
it all
point.
night.
That's just what I do. You do it too, though. Mind you, a lot. The press has a problem because they are in no trust society now, and people are not going to them for their news.
Also, yeah. Well, a couple things happened. One, I just watched a history of the press and kind of where they've gone, and the press became a closed loop system. They became unionizing is one of those things that does that. It becomes a closed loop system, which is one of the threats that we stand if we become an anti-immigrant country. We become a closed loop system, and normally innovation stops once that happens. But the press became a closed loop system, so they didn't let any new ideas in, and they would only hire ideological similarities all the time. So like Fox News is Republican coded, but they're probably ran by all Democrats, because that's all that, if you went into media production or any of that, you didn't even get your foot in the door unless you were part of the club.
Right.
Right.
The club that gives you that degree.
Yeah. So you may have some people that sits out there, but the club, unless you were part of the club, you didn't get in. So the media has a problem, and that problem is showing itself when it comes to a problem, a boiling head. And so it showed its ass during COVID, and it showed its ass during Trump won, and it showed its ass during Obama, because when Obama would do things that overall hurt us, the media would praise it. And so because the media were ideologically simpatico with him. And so if the media would diversify, and you've seen breakouts like Matt Taibbi, he was completely Democrat left-wing coded, but he's broken out of that over the last couple of years. And Matt Schellenberger's broken out of that. Matt Schellenberger, is that his name?
I don't know. Is he on CNN?
No, but these guys are both like previous Democrats, progressive Democrats, but they've recognized the flaw in the reporting. So they have broken out of it. Mike Schellenberger. Anyway, Schellenberger, he's broken out of that. And then there's that left-wing guy I used to watch argue with right-wing Republicans all the time. He just wrote a book arguing. He's arguing for prosperity Democrats again. What's his name? I need to look that up.
Can I add something?
Of course.
The thing about the media at the end of the day is they're a business, just like any other business. And it wouldn't surprise me if Fox is run by the same Democrats who run CNN, because they're going to profit off of both angles, because that's their profits. And when they notice their profits are sinking in places like CNN after the 2024 election, what did they do? They bring in somebody who is going to be in their face about the Democrat Party, because it turns heads, and then the right wing will start watching it. Conservatives and Christians watch Fox, but they may watch a CNN or two if there's a little bit of back and forth. They're a business. They're trying to maximize profits, and they're seeing them go down the tube into YouTubers and podcasters. And they're going, oh, crap, we got to change something. And I don't watch Fox for the same reason I don't watch CNN. Don't tell me what I'm supposed to think. And both of them are guilty of that. And they don't share the whole story. So our conversations and our arguments and discussion is unscripted. It's not practiced. We come down and have a conversation, right? These are real emotions and real feelings we have and thoughts. And it's like we are sitting at the kitchen table with other members of the public, and we're trying to understand. The press has stopped doing that.
Yeah.
And to them, Donald Trump is the devil, and they will report that 90% of their stories is all negative about him. All of it. And he just did a press conference, yesterday? 365 accomplishments in 365 days.
He's honestly, as presidents go, he has been the one who has delivered most out of any of them ever.
I mean, Calvin Coolidge is still up there.
Well, Calvin Coolidge actually delivered the most
by
because
50 and then 50.
Because he promised he was going to do nothing, and he did nothing.
And he ended he depleted the federal government and the first year 50%, and then the next year another 50%. It reminds me, have you seen the movie Dave? This is an old-timey movie where the president has a stroke and they're trying to keep it a secret, and they find a lookalike of the president. His name's Dave, and they hire him to be a fill-in for the president. And he sits down with a friend of his that's a tax guy or a financial guy with the budget, and he balances the budget like in one night, going over what can be cut and whatnot. It's such a great movie. If you haven't seen it, it's called Dave. Watch it. It's such an old movie. It's got Sigourney Weaver, and it's a great movie, but it's kind of what, that movie is probably the reason when people would say, well, that's not Biden, when the lookalike, they thought the guy's too tall or this guy's acting different. It really makes you think they could do that. If they found a good lookalike.
The conspiracy of the clone of Biden.
Yeah, but this movie just kind of, and this was in the 80s, I think, when this movie came out. It's a great show.
I'm watching because I follow a lot of left-wing and Democrat people because I like to hear their argument. And yes, I think they're wrong a lot of the time, but every once in a while, you got to listen to a broad swath. You get a nugget once in a while. And this guy, I used to watch him argue for Democrat. And he came out just last year and wrote a book. I've got to find it. I want to find it. I'll tell you guys about it as soon as I find it, next week. But
what's going on with her, by the way? Tulsi Gabbard.
Tulsi? I don't know.
Have you heard any? I haven't.
She's keeping quiet.
Kristi Noem is all over.
Well, right now, Tulsi Gabbard's over spies, and the spies aren't doing all that much.
Oh, that's
she
right.
Gets to be
okay,
quiet.
I was just thinking, what is? I don't see her in front of Congress.
Yeah,
or anything.
she's over spies. Right now, all the arguments, CONUS. But anyways, but he started recognizing that the Democrat Party is making, and the big one, he looked at California, how the Democrat Party is killing its normal people, but making the rich richer with the homelessness Inc. and all that. but the regular Democrats are dying on the vine. They can't start a business. They can't build a house. They can't rebuild their house when a fire burns it up because the Democrats won't support common sense initiatives to make,
just cut the red tape
to fireproof the state. And so he wrote the Prosperity Democrats or something like that. And the book is about how he's arguing for the Democrat Party to act a little more Republican in some of their things. And this was a huge progressive, but he's starting to come out. You got Matt Taibbi and Schellenberger. And then, of course, you got Tulsi Gabbard. And, Donald Trump used to be a Democrat.
Kennedy.
Bobby Kennedy or Jr. And so you've got this influx, this big tents being built. Of course, the Republicans are now going through their big mini Civil War strife between the MAGA and the America First,
that's right.
which is going to probably tear them apart. And then, of course, you do have building up in the base of the Republican Party. You do have, well, I wouldn't say in the base of the Republican Party. They've split with Republicans, but you do have these white nationalists, just like the Democrats have their black nationalists and their, what do you call it? The Viva La Raza, whatever movement. These movements, but they're small now. I just fear that they're going to continue to grow as we further rift apart these movements that don't have a happy ending, even imagined, are going to grow.
People need a place.
That's true.
And our young people need a place.
Young men have been pushed out of society for
Charlie
far
Kirk,
too long.
the loss of him, may he rest in peace.
Yep.
It hurt us. And I mean, it hurt America more than I think we realize, because when the youth has a place and they have hope, they're a lot better. The economy's better. They're stronger. They're working towards something. And when they're sitting back and watching the shenanigans from both sides, they're losing hope. And then they either will take themselves out of voting, period, which is terrible, or they'll go to the most extreme. And that's also not good.
Well, I mean, let's look at it. Have you heard about this? Sorry, two thoughts going on. Young white men have been demonized, and that's going to cause them to slide towards ridiculousness. But if you heard about this, okay, so England made this video game to anti-extremist video game.
Sounds amazing.
But and they took it down because it's an utter failure, because the bad girl in it kind of became a national hero. There's the video game. I'll just show a picture of it. Hopefully this isn't
Is it like the opposite of GTA 5?
It just asks you questions. So I'm going to share this on screen. It's funny because it was an utter failure. It didn't work. So it's like Amelia, this girl right here with the purple hair, she's become kind of a national icon now. She's the bad girl, right? So they keep making all these, like, girls are dressing up as Amelia, and they've got AI hot chick Amelias and all this stuff. Purple hair, no entry, flag. Amelia, Charlie's close friend, has made a video encouraging young people in Bridlington to join a political group that seeks to defend English rights. And then you click on it, and then it says, what should you do? Should you, not join, tell Amelia she's bad, or learn more about it? And the game failed so hard that they pulled it. It was up for like a week, and they were like, oh, this isn't working. Because it tracked everyone's thing,
Of course it did.
It was kind of like a poll. I don't know if it tracked individually. It might have. I wouldn't put it past them.
Tracked in American games all the time.
But
and recorded.
It tracked what the answers were, and they were like, oh no. So they pulled it down. But now you've got this Amelia.
What was the point of it? To make him to play like you're a right-wing extremist? And does right-wing mean the same
no,
thing
it
in
was
England
the-
as it means here?
It was supposed to be. She is everywhere now, guys. Just look up Amelia meme, and she's become like
no king sign.
she's become like kind of like the, I don't know, the whatever, the, what do you call it? She's become like a big popular meme, and she's ever. So if you're on TikTok and you see this purple haired girl in a pink dress with a purple sweater on and stuff,
Is she defending?
she's defending England. She wants no more
immigrants.
No more immigrants.
Okay, so the video game was meant to get people not to like her.
It was to try to motivate you to move with the progressive
Got
movement.
you. Okay.
But it backfired because everyone started playing with it like, become a radical. You know, they click that button all the time.
I can't imagine anything more boring than
Look, England, I understand you ran by a monarchy and you're all old. I'm old. And you're all crusty and humorless and you drink tea and
have no king's protests.
And you're utterly retarded. Don't try to brainwash the kids so heavy-handedly because they are smarter than you.
The kids are arming themselves in the street because they don't want to be killed by.
You're moving into their game. You're an old crusty dude who says, I'm going to build a video game and I'll catch him by surprise. No. Let's lay this out. Mark Twain said, don't argue with idiots because they'll drag you down and beat you with experience. Now, that also works with don't argue with gamers on video games because they'll drag you into the video game and beat you with experience. You're dumb. They found out they were dumb. They pulled it immediately, but they're like making AI girlfriends of this girl now.
Well, I think about it. Even now, Activision, Call of Duty. I mean, I play these games. I got a PlayStation recently, and I started GTA. And the reason I play it is because it's the best time I have with my brothers
and
who live in different states.
It's a good release.
Yes, it's a great release, and it's something I've done since I was a kid with Nintendo, Atari. Like, I'm aging myself, but it's always been like a reward, and I love it. What's bothersome to me is these games are physically recording you, even if you're in a private game, talking to just your own friends. You're not going out and playing randos in the world. They're recording you.
They're kicking people off.
They are banning you. They're chat banning you. If someone is talking nasty, mind you, in GTA 5, where the character you're playing says nasty stuff, the radio station you're listening to says the N-word like every other word.
You buy a prostitute, you do your business, and then you go rob the prostitute after.
All of that. And then they're banning you because you said a bad word they don't appreciate. When the rap songs you're listening to even say said bad word.
You know,
this make sense.
It's the best timeline. But
it's insane.
But no, England, this was just a bubble game. You know, like a game you'd have in an HR video at work.
Or at a child's school.
Yes, it was that level. And I forget the name of the game. I wanted to try play it. Oh, Pathways. But they pulled it already. I tried going on to it. The game is called Pathways, the controversial meme about the viral UK anti-immigration goth girl. She's a goth girl even.
Amelia.
Oh, these guys are
Talk about a backfire.
Oh, it did. It did.
That should tell you, though, that you are not in line with your society. I mean, a proof. Elon Musk purchasing X.
Well,
that right there showed you, look, you're not in line with society when that is where people go for news.
I think, remember he said he purchased it because they kicked the Babylon Bee off because they banned him. But I don't think he did. I think he did it because he was planning on building Gronk. And what better place to teach an AI than Twitter?
I mean, you could be right. He also could have done it because it was Tuesday, and he's like, you know what? Dare me again.
No, because he actually took a hit on it at first. I mean, he made it all back. But I actually think I don't see any, like with Maduro being captured, I don't see anything the way they're playing it anymore. I've lost the ability to believe either party, any political message, any news, and I would like to get it back. I remember when I was just naive and I just, oh, the world's great. But no, they burned me too many times. They burned me when they said, we're delivering freedom. And then I watched the news interview that young Marine in the poppy field. And he says, nope, my job is to guard the heroin.
Yeah. Remember when Bill or Bush said, we gotta kill the free market in order to instill free market principles.
No, that was
insane.
That wasn't Bush. That
was him.
Was it Bush?
I just saw it the other day.
They said we got to destroy the free market to save it.
the principles.
You know who else said that once upon a time?
No.
Franklin Delano Roosevelt when he took the gold away. William says Mark Ruffalo and Whoopi Goldberg should make a movie like that about Biden's robotic movements.
Those two people. Mark Ruffalo, are you serious? Like
look.
Never listen to actors.
Here's the next thing. Actors are going to go away. AI, 10 years, and you will pay $500 to watch a movie with real people in it because the other stuff will be free. And that will be like the weird play that people go to, like where you dress up and you have monocles and all that shit, right? Because you'll come home and you and your family will all sit down and you'll say, I want an action. And the old lady will say, I want a romance. And little Billy, he'll say, I want a big dog in it. And little Jessica, she'll say, and I want fluffy bunnies. And it will make you a movie that you will love because it learned you.
And if actors sell their likeness, it'll have all your favorite actors in it if you want.
Actors won't have to sell their likeness anymore because AI will be better looking.
Right.
AI will be perfect. And you'll be demanding this. They'll give different AIs a name. And that's who you'll want to see. And you'll go in there and then they'll have competitions. They'll invite people out and they'll have some nitwit up there saying, and this award goes to Jimmy's House where they made this movie and it was thought to be the best movie made ever, because people will make movies and there will be a website where after you make it, you post it, people become fans of you designing movies for your family's entertainment. It's going to be insane. The world is going to be off the hook unless the pole shifts and then we all get wiped out. And
solar flare.
Maybe some of us learn how to survive and I mean, I don't know. I know what flint napping is. Never done it, but I wonder if I could.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
That's how they make old spearheads. When they got the leather on the lap and they're breaking off little bits of
arrowheads.
Yeah. That's napping.
Interesting. I mean, I do napping well.
Yeah, I do.
I mean, I'm a master at it at this point, but not arrowhead carving.
Yeah. So
Ruffalo and his job is to be like, Hulk smash. And it's like, okay.
Who do I like more, Whoopi or Ruffalo? Jeez, that'd be tough. Like there's a burning fire and they say you have to save one of them and they're both in there. I'd probably save Ruffalo because it would hurt my back less. But, it'd be a tough choice. I don't know.
I'm not even going to chime in on that.
That'd be tough.
I would call the fire department. That's what I would do. And I would pray for both of them.
Thoughts and prayers. I don't know, but
I think they're brainwashed. I think that there's a different part of their brain that is being soothed. And I think a lot of it is self-soothing, like, oh, I'm better than you. I'm kinder than you. Look how much better I am than you because I'm fighting for this. There's not a side to them that goes, wait a minute, what am I fighting for?
Well, and also they live in a gated world.
We all do.
But no, they live in a super gated world.
Yeah.
They don't have, no one they love or care about comes into the tactile interference of, I turned 18 and I'm trying to find a job and no one is hiring me.
Yeah.
I
have men all around them.
I have to, none of them. Now we don't out here, but in some places, even in Salt Lake, I can't walk down to that store because I have to cross that neighborhood to get to it. They don't live in that. They don't live in the world where they come into contact with us.
It's true. I mean, they might start there in some way, shape, or form, but they do graduate beyond it. But all of us live in our own gated worlds and the bubble from what we go out, and we have to physically search out something because AI knows you so well. It's feeding you anything you want to see. And I actually get frustrated like crazy because I'm watching shorts and the stuff they're feeding me is just, I don't want to hear this. I want to hear what the other side is saying. I want to understand what their argument is, and it's not feeding it to me. And it frustrates me because I got to go seek out a differing point of view. And that's what maybe a lot of people aren't even bothering to look for a different point of view because we're getting so tribal in our views.
That's why I'm committed to watching, I watch what the Young Turks are saying. And it's funny to watch their arguments change even day to day.
Yeah.
The Young Turks, I think, like the Nick Shirley thing, it's interesting. When they first announced that, they were just disparaging him. And then yesterday they did a show and Anna's like, and she just kind of gave in because, look, I don't care if the kid's not a good on an interview stage or not a good speaker or any, I don't care, because what he did is he found some legit BS stuff going on
that our own press trained people in journalism never bothered to do.
Well, it's not that they didn't bother to do it was politically inconvenient to do.
That's what I mean, though.
Yeah.
He's going to be one of the most famous YouTubers, got one of the most all-time watched YouTubes on the planet. And he did it because he went in and looked at something that the press wasn't touching.
Like the third most watched single program. It's crazy. It's wild, but it is what it is. Now, the Somalians, they need to say, if we had crappy people in our community, we need to turn them over.
Right.
We need to turn them over to the police. We need to stand together as Somalians and say, we're going to be United States citizens right now. We are going to sacrifice these dirt bags that we have here. If we have them, we are going to get off welfare. Listen, if you're on welfare, perpetually on welfare, you are a burden. Don't be a burden. Don't be that transient person. Pick the town you're going to live in and work to make it better. Now, David says he should be able to protect his home if people showed up to harass them. Who? I
think that was the ICE conversation, and we are past our time, so we're kind of going long. But I think he meant that someone that's being sought out by ICE.
He should.
If someone's coming to protect them, or he could be discussing the officer that got doxxed.
The officer, but yeah, of course, the officer. But if, a mob of 100 people show up, I don't care what weapons and ammo you have.
Yeah, that's when you need your community. And I mean,
that's when you leave. Now
it's going to get bad, Jared. Something bad is going to happen.
Oh, dude, seriously.
That is my fear. And it's not going to be, it doesn't matter what side it is. It's going to be bad. And it's going to lead to more bad.
I'm over here loading magazines.
I mean, seriously, like if you watch this down to the end result, it's going to be bad. And I don't want anyone to die. I don't want anyone to die over this issue.
That's how China becomes the dominant power in the world for the next 10 years overnight. The reason I say 10 years because China's made it, they had that old one-child policy that China's not going to be able to maintain their living standards. And if we went away, China collapses the next day because we're China's customer.
Right. And we're a good customer.
India, I think, would have the best chance next.
My worry, like my number one goal would be that our local law enforcement is partnered with ICE, who's controlling anything. And that goes for any federal government, the ATF, the DEA. Before they go into a county, the sheriff knows they're there. We've talked about this before.
Here's a tough one. They don't like ICE. I don't like the ATF.
That's what I'm saying. The sheriff should be the person.
Yes,
local law enforcement should be the in between
Yes.
you and whatever federal agency, and it
ICE
should be a
ICE
committed
should be
work
able to
environment.
come to our sheriff and say, we're looking for these 3 people. And our sheriff says, I'll go find them for you. Sit down, have a cup of coffee, go wait in your hotel room. Matter of fact, I'll bring them to you.
Right.
And that's how it should function.
That's how local government should definitely be empowered.
The feds should say, look, we need to serve this person. We need to have the process initiated against this person. And the local sheriff should say, my job as a duly elected individual is to carry out the initiation of that process. So the sheriff goes and gets them, delivers the papers, whatever. The sheriff gets that process started because that's the elected person that's armed in your community.
Yeah, or pulls them out of the jail that they're sitting in.
Or if they're in the jail, and they're illegal, our sheriff should initiate that by calling up. I say, look, I got an illegal here. We've got him for this. Do you want to start talking to the DA now? And you guys figure out whether you want us to charge him with this here and punish him here, or you just want to initiate him leaving. If it's a violent crime, I suggest we punish him here. We get our pound of flesh here, and then you guys kick him out. But we have a radical system where we have these swings. Look,
they're turning organizations on each other.
Trump probably won't have the Republicans after the midterm. So we're going to go into crazy land. And then now that could lead one of 2 ways. If he doesn't, and we go into crazy land, that might mean a Republican might win in the next presidential election, but then he'll be sitting in crazy land during the next presidential election. So who knows how that works? But we're in crazy land. So right now, buy more ammo, buy food.
Show up at the Capitol, guys. There's a lot of bills going up there, and we'll try to keep you apprised of some of the important ones and some that you may think are crazy. But you have the opportunity to go up and watch these committees. And I know it's boring to do on a weekday, but this is where
I would rather.
This is where your electeds really need your support. If anything, just call your electeds and let them know how you feel about something, just so there's no question. Do you think it'll pass? This guy's an idiot. Sadly, if everybody thought that way, it will pass because nobody's saying live, this guy is an idiot. This is insane. And it's what we learned when they did the vape ban. Remember, we were talking to Scott Sandel, and our senator, and he said, no one argued that before. We didn't hear any of that. The fact that it's taking away freedoms from grown-ass adults. And he was very interested in our opinion. And then the very next week, there was an appeal that actually stood. It's not because we were trying to take the business of vapes. What we were trying to do is keep freedoms as adults, because they come for that, and then they come for this and this and this. And the more we can hang on to, the freer we are. It's when we stop engaging and having conversations with the very people that are sent there to represent our voice. When we stop talking to these people, they have to go rogue, or they only talk to the people who are crazy enough to call them and chew their ears off. And they don't know how to vote for you, the person they're meant to represent.
Yeah. Get to know you know what? You can get the phone number for your state rep and your state senator. Their phone numbers are right there. And they've answered me.
Their emails too.
Yeah. You can email them. You can call them. You can send them a certified letter. You can go up to their office. Some of them schedule little tours of the place. We got to.
Nicolina's been great. Bridger's been great.
That tour of that place was just, do we have to build every government building ridiculous maze?
Some would say that building was built before the government.
Was
the county building.
That's still government, and it's
But
ridiculous.
they're saying
maze.
it was built before. There are, we had that tinfoil hat on earlier. They believe it was built by a different society.
Ooh, was it?
Oh, I mean,
what kind of ooh, was it
a society that was then wiped out by some big event, and then we rebuilt, and that building was still standing.
Really?
Yeah, I've heard. I don't remember what they're called. They're called Temerians or something. Hey, check out the Brain on Brad this time. Somebody knows a little something different. You've never heard that? People don't believe that the temple was built by human hands.
Solarians is a theory that there were lizard bipedal people.
Lizards. I think they were thinking it was terrestrial or just a very advanced society that wiped itself out or was wiped out by something. I'd say it was the dinosaurs that were wiped out by something, but
there we go. Silurian hypothesis. Yeah. Anyways, I don't know. That our state capital was there before?
Yeah, something like that. And the temple.
And the temple?
There's literal pictures of the temple being built.
Like when
in old timey days.
When Brigham Young come over and did the whole this is the place thing.
Yeah.
There was a temple set there.
And then
and the state capital.
Somebody that told me this was talking about the county building and how it's got all of the what are they called? The little scary things that sit up on buildings.
Oh, the gargoyles?
Gargoyles. How it has gargoyles and these old timey symbols. You know what? I listen to everyone. I'm trying to learn.
We listen, we don't judge.
We listen and we don't judge. Right.
I judge a lot. Yeah. Solarians comes from I think it comes from an old black and white TV show. But anyways, yeah. That's neither here nor there. It's a fun late night enjoy chat.
Tartarian Empire.
Oh, from Tartarian, huh?
Yes.
Okay, well, now I got to look that up. Here's a new thing for Jared to learn tonight.
The idea of a lost advanced civilization that built America before being wiped out is a core belief in various pseudo-historical theories, particularly those surrounding the Tartarian Empire, which claims a sophisticated global civilization was destroyed by mud floods, and theories promoted by authors like Graham Hancock, who suggested a highly advanced Ice Age civilization left clues in ancient monuments worldwide.
Graham Hancock, I don't know if he's ever named it Tartarian, but he just believes that there was something there before the flood because Gobekli Tepe.
These ideas are popular in fringe communities, but lack mainstream archaeological or historical evidence, contrasting with established history about indigenous societies, and European colonization. You guys learned something new tonight.
Learn something new.
And stay off TikTok, or that is designed to keep you in its depths.
Dig into TikTok.
It's designed to keep you in its depths.
I love
take all your time away.
One, it'll show me something crazy that I can call someone Tim Walls, and then the very next one will show me,
something amazing
cat or something else. And and some of my friends are making TikToks.
I mean, some of them are. I see amazing things, or I see the cutest darn dogs I've ever seen, and then my daughter will go, "That's AI."
I know.
And I'm
Screw
like,
AI.
Stop! It's an adorable puppy. And then my husband's sending me pictures of a puppy. And I'm like, this is the cutest thing ever. Do you want to get a puppy? Is that why you're sending me? No, because it's really cute.
See,
and then my daughter kills it with, that's AI.
Here's the Graham Hancock story. Is what breaks it. So they said human civilization, like agriculture, started 6,000 years ago. But 11,450 years ago, they founded this place. That makes me wonder stuff.
We're getting too smart for our own good that we have to invent theories and things just to keep life interesting. That's how you know you live in a first world.
This is just, it's just Gobekli Tepe. I would like to go there, but they are planting olives there as we speak, so we can't dig it up anymore and explore more. Break that one down to me, guys.
I think a picture is fine. That's all I needed to see.
They've only dug up like a tenth of it.
I'm good with it.
I want to know what else is there.
Well,
that's human's history.
What about do you think I am struggling. The ocean, Atlantis?
Atlantis. Have you ever read the story of Atlantis?
Yeah, but it was a long time ago. Folks, we're just draining time now. We're so grateful you tuned in with us tonight. And we hope you stay safe out there. Don't impede an investigation. Try to keep your family safe and away from it. At the same time, if you're bothered by it, talk to your sheriff or your local electeds and really express yourself. And if you know somebody who is, everybody has a problem with immigration. I think the election was won on it, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
I think the American people are tired of having an open door and not knowing who's here. And then we can talk about reform, because that is something I would be frontline, talk about reform. Immigration reform needs to be done. Yes, we need to know who's in here. We also need to know if they're sponsored and if someone's going to vouch for them, and they can't have a criminal record, but let's give them a shot. We're in the world and we're big enough. We can handle more people, especially people who believe the same thing about a constitution and independent freedom. That is a beautiful thing that we take for granted every day. I guarantee there are kids all over the world that dream about coming to this country, a country we grew up in and we're lucky to be calling it home.
Mm-hmm.
But those things were fought for. And those things they're not just given to generation after generation before eventually there's going to be a price to pay. And it's got to start with you at least understanding your constitutional rights and the importance and value of this nation and the beauty that is here for you. If you work hard enough for it, it can still happen. Sometimes I wish we didn't have so much involvement in politics so that we could be just dreamers, you know?
You know what? I say let's dump politics and just talk about conspiracy theories. A brand new show. All right, guys. Have a good night. I'm going to blow Holly's mind here for just a second.
We love you guys. We'll see you